Just give 5 seconds. थोड़ा वो सारा. Hello all, welcome back to CSC's live chat. I'm Sukanya Nair. I have with me someone today who has been with CSC for over 25 years and she heads the biodiversity team right now at CSC. Thank you so much, Vibha, for joining. And you know what? This is the first time we are having somebody back in a row. Just last week, we had the live chat on the Green Kitchen, and now we are back again on one of the reports that you just got published. So the 16th Conference of Parties for the Biodiversity Convention, basically the CBD, is starting from October 21st. So she just published a report on the 30 by 30 target, which is also the target 3 of the CBD. Vibha, just for everybody's benefit, can you explain to us what is CBD and what is this new term, the 30 by 30 target?
First of all, thank you, Spanya, for inviting me. And I will start from the basics. So in 1992, at the Earth Summit, we had 3 conventions that were put in place. One of them is the UNFCCC, which is on climate change. The other one is on desertification, which is UNCCD. And the third one is the Convention on Biological Diversity, which is the CBD. So all these came into force in different years, like CBD came in force in 1993. But since then, biodiversity loss has still been there and it is a big issue. And globally, it is accepted that biodiversity loss is one of the 3 planetary crisis that the world is facing. The other one is air pollution and climate change. So with this, every second year or so, the CBD holds its conference of parties. So this time it is holding it in Colombia and it's starting on the 21st. And there at the COP, the parties are going to take a look at the progress that has been made since 2022, when a very major framework was put in place. This was the Kunming Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, or KMGBF, or the Biodiversity Plan, as it is known. So this was put in place, and this has around 23 targets that have to be met by 2030. And there are 4 major goals that have to be met by 2050. So in this, the third target is the target on protected areas, which is talking about how more land and more inland waterways or marine areas and coastal areas need to be protected. Yeah. So the reason it is being called as 30 by 30 is because the goal or the target says that 30% has to be conserved and conserved. So it is 30 by 30% of the land and of the earth by 2030. So we have come out with this report, which is specifically focusing on the 30 by 30 target. So lots of work is being done on the ground. This is the first time that the parties are meeting after COP15, which was held in Canada when the KMGBF was put in place. So this is the first time that the group is meeting again. So they would be looking at the progress that has been made since that time. So what we wanted to see is what is actually happening on the target of protected areas, the 30 by 30 target. So we looked at a lot of issues. So we have identified 20 issues that pertain to protected areas in some way or the other. Some of them are very simple. Some things like what is a protected area, or what is the 30 by 30 target? What are the indicators that would be used to monitor progress? But some of them are more in-depth ideas or issues that pertain to protected areas, like what are the nature-based solutions that are being carried out in protected areas. But the major concern that we actually face is, where is the land going to come from? So that is a big issue, because obviously we know India is a very crowded country and we know that there is no land available. So what will countries do to meet this target is a bit of a problem. So the Protected Planet report comes out like last time it came in 2018, I think. So in that, they keep on monitoring how much area is being converted is being protected again and late during the time. So we need to figure out what this land is. At that time, in 2018, the protected area was just around 14% of the whole Earth mass.
Okay.
But since then, in 2024, it's reached just around 17.5% or something like that, and of the Earth and of the land mass, and around 8% of the oceans and the waters, coastal areas. So where is this land going to come? So one of the things that parties realized at Canada, in the Montreal, was that the indigenous people and local communities own a lot of biodiversity rich area. So they kind of, thought like, let's include the IPLCs into the whole ambit of protection, the land under them, because it's very biodiverse also. So it should be included into the whole protected area uh, figure. So, but then what we have seen for ages is that we follow something called the fortress conservation. So, whenever we are making a protected area, where so we kind of evict people out of it. Right. So that becomes a bit of a problem. So there are lots of issues happening across the world where indigenous communities are being thrown out of their own land. So that is not going to work. So fortunately, KMGABF accepts this, and they have included IPLCs into a lot of their targets. So hopefully, they would be part of this solution that of 30 by 30. So that is one of the major issues that we looked into and what could happen. So
how did you come up with this report? What was
so we were, as I said, we were looking into a lot of issues. So and so many things are linked to the protected area. So, for example, as I was mentioning, the nature-based solutions. So, a lot of carbon credits, which are being called greenwash by a lot of organizations, a lot of those carbon credits are also based in protected areas. Okay. So that is
that in itself is
a kind of a difficult thing, because first of all, they are not actually working, and protected areas are already being protected. So what is the carbon credit going to do? Exactly. What are the, like, why purchase that, or what will happen
what's
to
the
that?
point of that?
Yeah, what's the point of that? So there are many other issues, and we looked into things like where the land is. So there's a whole scientific community which is saying that you can actually protect as much as 50% of the land. But again, as I said, IPLCs own a lot of, not own, they occupy a lot of land. They are not legally owners of that land. They are demanding that they should be legal owners, but that is not happening in many of the areas.
So what were the major findings from your report?
Okay, so as I said, it's an update. Like, we are trying to understand what is happening, and this is going to be a primer for future, for the next 6 years. We can use this primer to see where progress is happening, what kind of progress is happening. This is just an identification of the issues around protected areas. So most of these questions can be kind of clubbed into three major groups. One is conservation, in which we are looking into how much land is being protected, and uh, things like, are they actually functioning well? Are they effective? The existing protected areas, are they effective or not? So that is one thing, conservation see. The other one is cash. Where is the money going to come from? So the Global Environment Facility is responsible to provide the funds for this. They will get funds only from the parties, the member countries. The developed world has to provide for this work also. So that is the second C, and the third C is the communities. So what is this going to do to the communities? So there are three C's we would keep on monitoring.
So are we looking at indigenous communities or all communities?
At this moment, conservation, as I said, the biodiverse areas are indigenous communities. Right. So that is who they have been involved into the whole protected area target.
Right. So does your report have any specific findings about India?
So yes, so India has something like a little more than 5% of its area as protected. But there are a lot of forest reserve areas, and the government and the authorities kind of include that into the protected area ambit, and that makes it up to as much as 30%. The government of India, as far as we can understand, is focusing more on a concept called OECMs, which is other effective conservation measures. These are private bits of lands which can be protected uh, by industries or NGOs or something like that. So we are focusing on that. But again, there's an issue with that also, because these are small pieces of land, and the whole scientific community says that all the land needs to be connected to be effective. So these are small bits of land
Here and there.
yeah.
And
So to
between
the
that.
extent to which that they can help is not known.
So what is our expectation from the COP this year?
So one of the main thing is, as I said,
Because clearly 2030, it's like right around the
right,
corner, and we have a very ambitious target, right?
yeah. So not only this target, the other targets are equally ambitious. This is called the most ambitious because it's a very complicated kind of a target. But at COP16, the parties will first of all take a look at the progress towards all these targets. So that is one thing that is going to happen. It's a good thing because that gives people make an effort to actually meet the various targets that have been set. So, for example, countries are supposed to send in their biodiversity plans, which they will follow till 2030. As of now, only around 22 countries have submitted their plans. So, like at this moment, there would be a whole lot of countries, they would be putting a lot of effort towards meeting this target also.
I would like to ask, out of curiosity, has India submitted?
No.
Sorry, go ahead, go ahead.
But then there is a problem. Like the CBD site has 22, but I have heard that 75 countries have submitted in one of the meetings. But I can't see
There's
the
no
list, so I
official
don't know.
record, right?
I don't know if India has actually sent it or not.
Okay.
So that is one thing that is going to happen. Lots of countries are going to do a lot of things to meet targets. So that would be a good thing. The second thing, the Protected Planet report is going to come. That is also going to give a more concise kind of an observation and collection of data on what has happened. So as we were talking about the nature-based solutions, there are carbon biodiversity credits that are being proposed under this. So some kind of a guideline to that is also likely to be released during this meeting.
COP16.
Yeah. So small things, but then as you said, 2030 is right around the corner, and every bit of information is going to add on to what we know about how we are faring towards meeting KMGBF, and what everything is, like we need to follow. So we would be actually, CSC is going to be at Columbia, and we would be
Yes.
following. And if you follow Down to Earth site at downtoearth.org.in, you would be seeing regular reportage from Columbia on whatever is happening there on this target and many other targets.
And we'll also be uploading this report that we released today.
Yeah.
And that will be on our website, cseindia.org, in our publications column. So do check it out. Any last word, Vibha? I mean, one thing that I would like to know is what is your expectation from COP16?
I expect a lot of community action there, because as they have been included for the first time into the whole uh, legal kind of, they have been invited into this. So a lot of uh, indigenous communities are doing a lot of work around these issues now. For example, Jeff has given direct funds to communities also to protect areas. That is something that has never happened before. So that is something new. I think there is a lot of excitement amongst the communities about being included into this whole CBD and the targets and how to reach them.
So you are hopeful.
Yes. So actually nobody knows what is going to happen. So it's, as I said, it's first COP after COP15. So progress.
So what happened in 2022?
So the KMGBF was put in place.
Just put in place. Right?
Yeah. Okay. So a lot of negotiations happened around that. It was a difficult framework to put in place, because the developed countries and the developing countries obviously did not agree to a lot of issues. And this, even the whole idea about how much land should be protected, the 30% target was contested and talked about a lot, because there are scientific communities which are asking for 50% to be protected. And then there are communities which say that if you include our land, it's already 30%, so you're not even aiming that high. And then there are countries like Brazil and other biodiverse countries which have so much more than 30%. But then this gives them a license to actually
Take charge and just
not to
destroy.
conserve and
Yeah.
destroy biodiversity. So, it's a bit of a, lots of things are happening out there in the field, and like we
Shouldn't
would get to know.
Ideally, shouldn't it be a comparison based on each country's already existing biodiversity?
So there are just 20 out of the 200 countries which are diversity rich. So all things have to happen there. But then these are also developing countries. So how much can you ask them to protect without actually developing? They also have, they own the land, they are there. And what we would rather see that these protected areas are also biodiversity rich, and also are places where communities live. So, what we can actually see in India, if you see many of the areas, the Adivasis and the communities, the local communities here, they have coexisted with biodiversity for a long, long time. It's just very recent, last 70, 100 years, that deforestation has happened and we have lost biodiversity. So, this coexistence has happened very organically for a very long time. So, I think it's not a problem that it will cannot happen again. It's just that the communities also would like to have the amenities and that we have. They would also like to progress in life. So that coexistence of protecting an area and also developing is something that is has been discussed a lot in the CBD. And that is why one of the things that is going to be monitored is the that the developed countries made a commitment of providing 20 billion US dollars to developing countries by 2025. They are nowhere near that. So that is going to be monitored at COP16 also. So lots of things are happening. And first of all, what has happened in the last 2 years, I would like to know. Because we see a lot of reports, we see a lot of things on the ground, we read a lot of news, but these are all very bits and pieces of information. And I think everyone else would also like to see what is actually, what is the final picture that is emerging. Would we actually meet the target, or the all the targets towards the framework, or not?
All right. So, and we've already overshot our time.
Okay.
So, because I was just curious and I just kept asking you more and more questions, we will end it on a note that the targets are ambitious, but we are still hopeful. Right?
And we would be reporting on all of this during the COP16.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us and watching our live chat. We'll be back soon. And I mean, all likelihood, once she's back after the CBD, we'll see her back again. All right. Thank you so much.